You're not going to believe what's sitting on the table today because this Chargers storyline suddenly feels like a full-on movie. A game that looks like a breather, but could quietly inflate a contract. A roster fit that screams Harbaugh ball without needing a headline. A playoff path that feels backwards at first, but might actually be the smartest road. And a final injury report that can throw the whole week off in ways people aren't even discussing yet. Put it together, this isn't just about Sunday. It's about January, and it's about what 2026 might end up looking like. Be honest, what do you trust more right now? Playing it safe, or leaning into momentum while the Bolt fam is buzzing? Quick thing before we get rolling, tap like, make sure you're subscribed, and let's jump in. Because underneath this whole rest conversation is something way more interesting, a public audition. Some Sundays look like just another week until you catch what's happening underneath. And right now, one of the most dangerous parts of this pass rush is basically staring into a spotlight. When coaches talk about sitting guys, the league hears playoff mode. One player hears a different word, showcase. And a Week 18 showcase can shape a roster's future more than any random snap back in September. If two big names on the edge sit against Denver, somebody has to bring the heat. That's where Bolt fam splits, because what's been one of the best developments of 2025 could turn into one of the trickiest problems of 2026. The trade for Odafe Oweh has played out like a masterstroke. Even when Khalil Mack came back from injury, Oweh didn't vanish. He became that rotational guy who keeps pressure alive all game. Through 11 games with the Chargers, the production is real. 7 sacks, 24 tackles, and 12 quarterback hits. And it didn't happen in a vacuum. The defense stayed connected, the secondary kept looking sharp, and the departure of Alohi Gilman created space for RJ Mickens to keep developing without the back end falling apart. Now comes the part nobody enjoys, contract math. Always in a contract year, and the edge market is going to be crowded. You're going to hear names, Trey Hendrickson, Joey Bosa, Malcolm Kuntze, Leonard Floyd, and in that mix, Oweh has already shown he can be a high-value second or third edge who swings games without needing to be the guy every snap. And sure, the Chargers have room. There's over $110 million in cap space. In theory, you can match just about anything. But theory doesn't fill out the roster. The offensive line needs real work. There are other choices to make. There are re-signings to handle. So if Oweh's price climbs too high, he goes from ideal to luxury. And Denver makes it spicier. Their offensive line has been elite and has allowed the fewest sacks through 16 games. So if Oweh still blows up on a day where the attention is aimed right at him, how do you later look at that and say, we're fine letting it walk? So answer it like Chargers fans do. Bring him back no matter what, or stay disciplined and spend where the pain is first. And while we're still chewing on that, another offseason idea quietly warms up. The kind that sounds small now, then gets loud fast. Not every move arrives with fireworks. Some moves are just clean fits. Look at where the Chargers' run game sits. The identity is obvious. Harbaugh ball doesn't need a highlight on every carry. It wants physicality, rhythm, and a back you can trust to keep the offense on schedule. The staff has tried different looks this season. Some worked. Some left more questions than answers. That's why a name people might skim past starts to make sense when you picture the role. Rachaad White isn't going to pop 70-yard clips every week. He's not lightning in a bottle, but he brings dependability. In Tampa, he lost the starting job. Clear they prefer a different back. That doesn't erase what White still offers. Steady rushing, understanding pass situations, and usefulness on third down and in designed plays that take stress off the quarterback. Screens, checkdowns, timing throws, stuff that keeps you out of third and long when defenses are hunting. Now picture Los Angeles. Omarion Hampton does the heavy lifting. Downhill, physical, making defenders feel it. White rotates in, keeps rhythm, keeps you on schedule, and doesn't put the ball in danger. Kimani Vidal shows up situationally, changing pace and catching quick darts when the defense leans the wrong way. That's not about fantasy points. It's about keeping Justin Herbert comfortable and turning 3rd and 6 into something manageable. And the cost angle matters. White doesn't project as a massive payday. You're talking short-term, affordable, something like 2 years, controlled money. A move that raises your floor without handcuffing your cap. So what's your preference? Bet everything on internal development, or bring in a guy who doesn't hijack the spotlight, but quietly fixes a problem. Because once January hits, nobody wants to hear potential. Everybody wants execution. Now to week 18, the decision that has people arguing like it's a verdict on the entire coaching staff. Fans see starters sitting against Denver and jump to risk, no urgency, giving away position. But zoom out and it's pretty clear the Chargers are playing chess. Justin Herbert sitting. Derwin James sitting. Other key guys being protected. That's not fear. That's memory. Every Chargers fan knows how one needless injury can hijack a season. With a playoff spot locked up, the staff decided they weren't flirting with that scenario. And the wild part is, this approach can set up a really intriguing playoff road. Normally, teams chase the highest seed. But here, the number 7 seed has a weird appeal. Why? The New England Patriots are almost certainly landing at number 2. That puts the wild card matchup right there. Tough, sure. No freebies, but it's a game you can plan for, especially if you go in healthy. And if the Chargers get through that, the likely next step is familiar. The Denver Broncos, on the road, against a division rival you know inside and out. Still hard, still dangerous, but more predictable than some other roads. The one piece that threatened to mess with this all week was Buffalo. There were concerns the Bills might sit everyone, take the loss, and scramble the math. Then we got the sentence that matters. Bills head coach Sean McDermott said Josh Allen is good to go on Sunday. That flips the vibe fast. It's not only football, it's emotion. It's a farewell. Buffalo is playing its final regular season game at Highmark Stadium before moving into a new stadium for the 2026 season. That's 52 years of history. Teams don't like losing those games. Quarterbacks don't love walking off with that kind of memory. Plus, Buffalo still has incentive to improve its own playoff position. So, motivation isn't the issue. And sometimes you don't even need 4 quarters of Josh Allen. One clean series can start the chain reaction. The irony is perfect. The Chargers rest and could still benefit. So tell me, do you want the clean, predictable road, or the path that looks harder on paper, but might be simpler once you're living it? And then there's the part nobody likes. The final injury report dropped and instantly made everything feel shakier. Because Week 18 injuries aren't only about Week 18. They're about reps, timing, chemistry, and who you can trust when the playoffs start swinging. The final update was blunt. Omarion Hampton ruled out. Nico Reed ruled out. 2 names crossed off immediately. Then 2 listed as doubtful. Jamaray Salyer and Elijah Molden. On paper, you can call it caution. Once you map rotation in depth, you see the ripple effects. And it keeps going. A handful of questionable tags. Center Bradley Bozeman. Running back Hassan Haskins. Safety RJ Mickens. Corner Benjamin St. Justice. Running back Kimani Vidal. That's a lot of pieces living in the we'll see zone. Quick note, this didn't come out of nowhere. On Thursday, Molden got added with a hamstring issue and was limited in practice. Those can be annoying, because you don't really know how they'll respond until game day. At the same time, the energy changed. Keenan Allen came back to practice and said he's playing Sunday, chasing multiple incentives in his contract. That matters. Money matters. Motivation matters. Vidal improved from limited to a full participant after that scary neck injury. That's meaningful progress. It doesn't erase the concern, but it's real. Mickens stayed limited again, still working back from the shoulder issue that kept him out last week. And zoom out, Wednesday opened